This is the part two. When I call for somebody to resign, it doesn't mean I'm playing games with you. At this time period, it's beyond disgusting looking at that liberal Democrat to the right of me, that very liberal idiot, and the one who has lost all faith and trust in anybody and everybody that respected the office of Commonwealth Attorney. Now, new news has came to my attention, and I can say with confidence we are in the right direction. And my investigations get deeper. And when I tell people I'm hunting or making sure I drain the swamp, I make it a promise. I told several different groups down there, I said I'm not going to wait until the primary. I said I'm going to drain the swamp every single chance I get, and I don't care whose toes I have to step on to get the job done, as long as I get it done. You don't have to like the way I get it done, long as the mission is complete. Now, Tracy Martin, one of the things about me, I follow the money. And I had an interesting revelation. And I want to tell all the drug dealers, the coke dealers, the crack dealers, the meth, whatever you do, I'm not after you. I don't care what y'all do right now. Right now is about that liberal Democrat that is a piece of trash, and exactly she needs to be exposed for who she is. We need law and order. But I can't trust any investigation coming out of her office when it comes down to you. So at this time period, y'all are exonerated from my investigation. When I find at the top levels of local government in your area is just as corrupt, if not more corrupt, in my opinion, than you. I'd rather clean out the biggest piece of trailer park trash that ever has walked the earth than to go after the very people who have only been able to operate because of the trash, because of the Democrats, because of the liberals, and all that stupid mess. Now, let's get this part started. Tracy Martin. Now, as I look over your campaign donor list, it became very, very interesting. And I said to myself, all these donations seem legitimate, but what's the story behind the donations? What name sticks out that deals with any allegation of drugs and trafficking and more? And if there are family members extended from that, and whether there has been investigations that are criminal that either magically disappeared from the docket or was handled in a manner in which there was no consequence, which is very consistent of when a Commonwealth attorney has been compromised. Yes, it is. And I went up and down the list looking for outliers, looking for the drugs, looking for the money, looking for the motivation. And I'm going to say this without even mentioning the drug dealer's name because I already know who it is. Without a doubt, I said the drug dealer is black. Didn't I? That should have rang a bell to her that this is getting close. But she still hasn't resigned, and she wants to keep looking stupid. So I figure I might as well let her know how close I am. And for the Halifax County Sheriff's Office and the South Boston Police and the rest of you police agencies, take note of how I handle business. And also, I would like to dedicate this. I forgot. Hold on. Because a piece of trash tried to go in my inbox, and you go in my inbox and put a threat to me, I'm going to probably whoop your ass. Now, Scott Hudson, You are to be thanked. Scott Hudson. Remember that name. Everybody write down that name. Scott Hudson is to be thanked for all of this. This is dedicated to Scott Hudson. This call for resignation of Tracy Martin. I want everybody in Halifax County to thank Scott Hudson for this program. Now, let me go down the list of all these donors to Halifax County Commonwealth Attorney's Office. And those who live in that locality that is familiar with the drug trade, you could probably figure out who's who. So, as I went down the list, I said this was interesting. Margaret Anderson. Didn't see nothing there. Austin Excavating Land and Timber. This is what happens with public records, people. See, when you're trying to go after a Commonwealth attorney or some dirty politician, you follow the dirt. You know, there's a Joseph Bailey. Wow. That's a different name up there. I haven't came across. John Bass. Wow. Ted Bennett. This is all public records. You can see this on VPAP. Is where we have to report donors and stuff like that. And I would go down the list, but I figured, what's the point? Tracy Martin, you know why there's a point behind this. Your donors are the people you helped out. And you helped out their families. And you handled those prosecutions, or your office did. And realistically, there's some more problems for you. Now, one of your dealers, I talked about underage girls and the allegations behind that, where they was caught with one on school property by a similar officer from the allegations with the same last name that retired. That case is nowhere on the docket, but it would be in school personnel files, especially employee personnel files, which would be exempt from disclosure under the FOIA Act. Now to Halifax County Public Schools. Y'all are as corrupt as it comes. I can say that part. And whatever situation y'all have going on to include your school board needs to be cleaned out immediately. And you need to release the records of current and past school board members that have been alleged to be in drugs, crime, or embezzlement. And those records need to be made available to the police as well as to the public. Because within all of these records, you can understand the pattern I have came up with. And you can understand where I'm going with this. See, I don't have to name names when I already know where the dirt is at. It's as easy as that. And it's not just the school board, but we have noticed a sharp amount of failed prosecutions with our campaign donors and the family or friends connected to these donors. And through the allegations, we have found that certain murders may have not been solved because they connected to businesses. You hear that police sound? That should be for you, Tracy Martin. But at this time, I want your resignation. And these businesses also has a story behind them that hasn't been solved. Murders, rapes, covering up of crimes, felonies, and more. Where, of course, as all this is going on, it can only happen from one office. And that would be the Halifax County Commonwealth Attorney's Office, which is responsible for prosecuting these individuals and bringing them to justice. But instead, these individuals have not been brought to justice on all the charges that they should have. Some have been basically swept under the rug because they knew the perception of Halifax County would be compromised, not knowing that all these wheels that are turning is coming from the very office responsible for prosecuting crimes and making sure people have swift justice. So families after families who have looked for murderers to be brought to justice, rapists and more, are now finding out that the allegations being brought up against Tracy Martin and what has happened is basically compromise of our prosecutors here in Virginia. And it's not just in Halifax, it's all over the state. That's why I said absolute immunity would no longer be applied, but qualified immunity and having a way to bring these animals to justice. Yes, because the police only get away with what the prosecutor lets them. And when you have a bad prosecutor, then you can understand why justice is always going the wrong way. And people are unaware of the conflicts of interest that this prosecutor has between herself and campaign donors and their families. So I'm going to give Halifax County, all y'all locals, a homework assignment. Yes, I am. Look at the campaign donors. Look at the families. Look at the ones who have gotten away with crime or crime is not showing up reported or is sealed in J&R court, which would be the right court for sealing up investigations, which should have been certified to circuit court. And it explained why I was not able to see files from indictments because the indictments got dropped in an area where it's sealed. But it's still some explanation to go along with that. What perfect way to cover up a crime is to make sure the news cannot see the documents to cover it that's necessary for follow-up on a prosecution. J&R Court is the perfect example of that. I could say that part. So, Tracy Martin, when you look at your campaign donors, when you look at that nice list, and you look at all those family and friends that has walked through your doors and was supposed to be charged with crimes and prosecutions, was supposed to be handled in a timely manner, you know what happened. It ain't hard to figure this out when you're compromised. So this is a fair warning. And to drug dealers that's connected to her, I don't care nothing about you. Meaning, y'all not part of my investigation. She's my target. So I encourage you to come forward. Because whether you like it or not, I could care less about who I expose. And the reason is because people are sick of prosecutors like that who give out the justice and give out the punishment, but they are selective in their enforcement. And that is exactly what Tracy Martin represents. And as I look down these campaign donors, and I look at the businesses affected and the murder investigations affected, there is no effective way for Tracy Martin to handle this investigation if she's the one behind them. Period. Unsolved murders should have been solved. Information should have been given to the families to aid in those investigations. But these businesses which are attached in the line, are all known for drug dealing or a place or area where it happens. And also at the same time frame, certain top level officials, former and present from the Halifax County Public Schools, are not in jail but walking around free and have been covered up long enough. If you have been stealing money, that's a clue, Tracy Martin, and haven't been prosecuted. If you've been caught with an underage girl, yes, and haven't been prosecuted, and charged with strangulation and other violent offenses that magically doesn't make it to the day of light in J&R court. And then the other businesses, because it's more than one. A high-profile business in Halifax County. And what I want all y'all businesses and campaign donors to say to yourself, we have screwed up. And I want to dedicate why you have my attention at this time period, so y'all know who to blame. Yes, Tracy Martin definitely wanted to blame. Yes, magistrate and the sergeant is another one to blame. Yes, I would say Circuit Court Judge Kimberly White, but the fact is she is already dealing with a complaint that she is going to have to address after the case is over. But I have never in my life seen so many involved at the top levels. Police officers. I'm shocked. But I told you I'm not interested in y'all, nor the drug dealers. I want her resignation immediately, as soon as it happens. And I'm going to say this. It's only going to be a few days, and when I hit that Undertaker music, and I may do it tomorrow, it's just whenever I feel like it and when I have time on the campaign trail, I'm going to make sure it's exposed big time. The fact is, it's a time where you come to redemption level and just say the same exact thing and make those necessary phone calls, which y'all going to do, and say it's time for you to go, Tracy Martin. He doesn't want us. He wants you. And this is your bullshit. And I don't understand why in the hell will all you campaign donors, I'm not saying all of y'all drug dealers or involved in drugs or involved in murders and whatever. Why would you think about this. Why would you have a paper trail that points everything in y'all direction? Seriously. And I already said the officer with the school with the underage girl who caught whatever's going on in the Halifax school board and the former or past president employee, who cares? But the fact is, justice cares. And I want pedophiles to have the death penalty. So there's no excuse for that. And to know that this was all covered up sounds like what people do. And similar last names connected, Martin, and what I just said, one's retired. And what relationship from the last name, from the same area, it's a lot of people with the same last name from the same area, but they are not maybe related, or they could be. But what is related, what kind of relationship is related, who covered up that crap at Halifax County Public Schools with Halifax County board members? And why would you do it unless somebody has some stuff on it? I'm going to find that out. I always do. And I want y'all to remember who made this investigation possible. Because y'all learning, you don't fuck with Merle Rutledge. You don't fuck with the candidate running for governor of Virginia, the badass Republican. and you a Democratic stronghold where those people around there are hungry, starving, and trying to survive, and you got time for bullshit. I don't have that type of time. I told every single person on the campaign trail or vice versa, your ass belongs to me if you corrupt. And that's exactly what's happening right now. And I'm dealing with a Democratic piece of trash, so none of y'all need to feel sorry about it, Republicans. That's exactly the leadership that we need in Virginia, somebody who doesn't give a damn about those being corrupt and a part of that swamp. Because America and Halifax County and Virginia deserves better. Enough is enough. And at this point, Tracy Martin, look at your campaign donors. Was that bright? Was that smart? No. Most people say, you know what? This too close. Don't send me no money. Don't give me nothing. Your family and stuff. It looks bad on me. No. What happens is when you think you're above everybody, when you're entitled and spoiled, you think nobody can touch you. You think nobody's going to bother with you. You feel like nobody has the resources or the heart and soul, backbone, and spine to go after you. Well, you learn it today. I don't give a damn about you. Period. Don't. And I'm going to make sure at the end of all of this, not only are you resigning, I want you in prison. Because when you at the top levels of government and responsible and supposed to have the commitment for justice and to know that you're corrupt, just remember, Merle Rutledge lives in Virginia. He's running for governor of Virginia. And Virginia doesn't deserve anything less. And my backbone, spine, and core to all my values, all Virginia values, we're going to make sure it's maintained and preserved like you Democrats have the goal to destroy. And we're going to make sure people are held accountable. And that's exactly the leadership that we have come to expect out of our leaders. So, to everybody, good night. And enjoy this broadcast. And wait for part 3. Because you deserve to know what's going on with your government. God bless you. God bless America. And you have a wonderful night.